we can jump into the Q&A. This was awesome.
Okay.
Your last sentence really moved me, but anyway, that's another story. I have one question to read because Jaime Permut is a great photographer. He has been a guest speaker at ARTCaffè before, and he left, but he had to leave now. So he wrote a question to ask you, and he said that he will then check your answer on the recording. So if you don't mind, let's start with this one. I will read it here. He asked you to speak to the privacy laws and restrictions that forbid photography of people on the streets without their consent. What does that mean for street photographers trying to make work nowadays?
Well, it's good question, and it depends where you live. So in France, you cannot really. So my picture of the man in Brittany with the label sticking out of his shorts. If I'd been showing his face, I should really have got his permission. Because it's the back of someone, I feel I'm a bit more, bendy to be able to use it. In this country, in Great Britain, if you're in the public domain, if you're out in the public domain, you are able to be photographed without permission. If I wanted to use it for advertising, I must get a model release. But I'm not using it for advertising. In a sense, I'm using it for art, with the small a. So I don't need permission in this country. In America, I think you might have a bit more problems. So it depends where you are in the world. But the other side of that question is that I think you must tap your conscience. I think you must listen to your heart and go, well, am I ridiculing this person? Because it's easily done. There's plenty of pictures out there which you might take, and then you realize if they see it, they'll be very embarrassed by it. There's a guy called Bruce Gilden in America who literally comes up to you. He's got a flash on his camera. He comes up to your face. He chooses the real oddities of American society, and he just snaps them and doesn't ask permission and just walks off. But he can do it up to a point. But that's not my style. You can see my style is much more sympathetic, let's call it, to the world and people in it. I got a lovely message on the chat by Merunisha Peel, who just wrote lovely start to the morning. So that's very nice. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Merunisha.
Which is another reason why I really, really wanted you as a guest speaker. We are in a dark moment and we need, I don't know, I'm craving for light, and this is light.
Yeah.
Light meaning, light. Thank
sure.
You.
No, I've had that. Thank you. I've had that as a compliment from other people saying just, they loved it. What I was showing at this time is, nice to see the world in a slightly different way to the problems out there. Let's just put it just like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan. It was really a lovely presentation of yours. And we're not only listening with eyes, but we're also laughing with eyes here. So it's a great feeling. And
thank you.
As you mentioned, since you're 11, you're always dragging your camera on your neck everywhere you're going. But could you tell us about a moment in your life where you didn't have your camera with you and that you're regretting it most of the time?
That's a pretty rare occurrence that I don't have a camera with me. There are plenty of times, if I may answer it like this, there are plenty of photographs I wish I could just blink and I would have the photograph. Because there are such fleeting moments that touch my heart, soul, whatever you want to call it. And I even if I had a camera like this ready, I probably would have missed it. Because, we human beings and the world just it's milliseconds, isn't it? This sort of eternal now is milliseconds.
We go to Shanghai for a moment. Magali.
Hello, thank you very much for the most laugh out loud experience I've had so far this year.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you.
I love your stream of consciousness, especially where technology is concerned, because I can relate to that. One of the things that struck me as not odd, but unusual was, do you ever think of your work as bringing out the sacred out of the profane?
Always.
Please tell us more about that.
Literally always. Well, you see, I do funny, Elliot Erwitt, the guy I started with, you say, I'm very serious about humor. And I really understand what he means. But the reason I say that, Magali, and I think that's a fabulous question, thank you very much, is that I'm a very philosophical chap. I've studied lots of philosophy for a long time. Not that I'm any great revelation about it, but I just find that I walk around this world thinking, how 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 are my eyes seeing? How am I hearing? Gosh, I can touch something and feel it. It's a permanent, non-stop miracle. Now, I don't say that to many people in the pub because they just look at me like I'm nuts. But it's the truth of the way I live. And yes, I have my depressions and my bad moods and all this stuff. I'm not, I'm no angel sort of with a nice halo around me, just going, oh, I'm in bliss and the world's perfect. That's not the case at all. But it is the case that I'm just in wonder. And why aren't we all, if I may put it like that? Look at this gift we are here. And we're not here forever. This isn't here forever. There may be something, and we don't know. We'll never know the answer to that. Well, I say never, but something may last us through. But this idea of consciousness and awareness is a huge thing in a thing called non-dual philosophy at the moment. And shall I very quickly explain? So non-dual means not two. And that comes from a 5,000-year-old philosophy in India called Advaita, which means not two. And the reason because a lot of religions or a lot of philosophers will tell you there's a oneness to us all. But the reason the Advaita people, all those 5,000 years ago, didn't use oneness, because oneness suggests a boundary. And this is boundless. We are living in boundless freedom, is the idea of Advaita. So that's why it's not two. That's posed, it's stated as a negative, not as a positive. And if this and another great revelation, Magali, was that I heard a philosopher saying to his audience, well, look, you're talking about the past and the future, but let's try this out. Let's just step back into the past for a bit. And of course, no one can leave the present moment. They just can't. We are here. You can have memories of the past and you can have thoughts of the future, but you cannot leave that. And that was a great relief to me. I thought, oh, good. I don't have to sit there meditating this mantra and pulverizing myself, bullying myself to stay present and not think. I can just relax because I cannot leave the present moment. It's impossible. Perfection. I'm always in the present moment. I mean, doesn't that help us all relax? Do you see what I mean? The ease of being. So what a great question. And I hope I've sort of half answered it. Wonderful. Thank you.
My name is Gi, and I'd like to ask questions about maybe an application of AI, Gemini or ChatGPT. The first, can you imagine to optimize your picture with Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude and so on? And do you think if worthful or worth enough for as an artist? And second question is, without traveling, can you let make pictures or yes, artificial picture with AI without traveling? You traveled everywhere, and how can it be for diversity as a work? Thank you.
I think anything can be art. Anywhere, anything can be art at all times. So if somebody wants to be an AI artist, fine, go for it. Enjoy it. It's not for me at the moment, because AI isn't presenting me with real life. I do somebody, we got the question about the photograph I've missed. Well, I've thought of maybe the list of photographs that I've missed. I could recreate them with AI, and present them as recreations of missed moments. But I mean, maybe that'll happen. I will use a bit of AI occasionally on my Photoshop if I've got something like, a scrap of paper in a photograph that I don't want there. Tiny. I would never use it at this moment. I won't use it to enhance anything in a false way. I don't mind people who want to play with it and falsify things and exaggerate. That's up to them. But it's just not my thing at the moment. And travel, well, if I can do travel, I will travel personally rather than have AI travel for me. I'm sure we'd all say the same, wouldn't we? I hope, does that answer your question?
Yes, there is a nod.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna, for this sharing. I really like your work, and I think you're creating a universe that is full of wonder and magic. So, so my question is, how you keep that kind of like a childhood innocence, kind of like man side during the life and carry through.
I hear you.
Thank you.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay. I don't keep it. It is. I just think, I don't know. I don't keep it. Do you know, Picasso, didn't he? He said he got to about, you know, it's taken me 50 years to become a child again. I think, I tell you, the answer might be to your question might be that I said I was a philosophical sort of chap. You know, there was a period in my life for 20 years I didn't read a novel. I didn't read anything. I read only philosophy books. And I think it's because I was so fascinated by just why all this is and how we are. And, you know, where are we going anywhere and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's innate. I think it's inside me. And I think the weird thing is, I'm going to say, if you can let the world in, if you can let the world be open, but in a way, it kind of has to come from inside you. And when I'm in my advertising jobs, you could tell the people who were burning inside to be creatives, and you could tell the people who weren't so bothered. And I've just always felt this very gentle burning to be creative. I sent my parents going, "Oh, do you want to do physics or be a dentist?" You don't understand. I have got no choice except to go to art school. I can only ever do that, go to art school and be creative. It's just coming from inside. So I think just walking around with an open heart is the trick, if you see what I mean. And maybe if this talk has shown anything, that's lovely, that's what it's shown. Thank you. Yeah. No.
I got very excited looking through your work and listening, and I had so many questions. And when Magali asked her question, it just made me smile so much because it was what I was feeling. But I'll stick to one thing because I just got very sort of effervescent about everything. But it's more comment than a question. I see your work as a reminder to live in the now. But also, there's something very therapeutic about being very open and just looking at what takes your attention and capturing it. And even if you don't, do you find that if you don't, so this is a question, even if it's something you take a picture of and maybe you don't use it immediately, it's just something that I don't know, it touched you. And then maybe later on, it might even be 10 years later.
Yeah.
You realize why you took it.
Very much so. Very, very much so. Yeah. When I do my workshops, which at the moment are just in London, I'd love to get around the world and do a few. But when I do, I start by talking about what I call life moments. So I've got a great grandfather or uncle who was a Victorian artist, and he's got a picture in the Tate Britain. But he wrote some notes about his work, and as a boy, I read this and I've remembered it ever since. Back in the day when lemons got sent to the UK, they were their bright, beautiful yellow. They were packed against a sort of purpley blue paper. And he wrote in his diary, the best moment of my day was seeing a lemon against its blue paper. So I probably read that at the age of 12. And I've remembered it ever since. And it's a life moment. Now, it wouldn't necessarily have made a good photograph, but it was I can just see him just going, God, the joy in those two colors together. And things being in relation to each other is so important. And in fact, everything, the whole world, everything is in relation to something else, isn't it? And my great friend, there's a guy on Instagram called Edward Not Edward, Edward Not Edward, who's my quirky history of art, brilliant artist himself friend. And he talks me through this stuff and introduced me to abstract art and all that thing. But so I do go around having life moments because I see just a plastic bag floating along the pavement, and then it goes past a blue door, and you go, oh, look at that moment of, color matching. Beautiful. So if that begins to answer your question, or statement rather, yes, you need these life moments, and then if you're lucky enough, you get your camera out, and you might have a picture, and it can sit there for decades. Exactly right. And it's also a visual diary. And then the groups of stuff I put together on Instagram, that's when those pictures can come in handy, because on their own they don't necessarily have a lot of power, but you put things in a group and the power grows. Each one reinforces the other, which is I found a very interesting technique. Yeah, I hope that begins to comment on what you said to me.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a vast conversation that touches many, I think many topics, but I also like the cultural reference, which is also perhaps a good exercise for people who move to a new place. Maybe use your camera sometime.
Yeah, but also, Marinisha, it's actually the sound as well. You can be going along the street and someone drops a bottle, and you can go, oh, shock, or you can go, God, what a beautiful sound that breaking bottle made.
Perspective.
And you don't even have to give it a quality of beauty. You can just go, well, listen to that. How interesting is that? So it's not always about beauty. It's just about the thing actually happening and and feeling it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to read one comment from Natalie in Hong Kong. She wrote, a lot of British humor in your pictures. In which way do you think it is a British humor?
Okay, so I think the British, I think we've grown up with being encouraged to think that the absurd, the completely illogical is humorous. And it's therefore sort of what I would call slightly lateral thinking or lateral humor. It's not in a straight line. It's coming from odd angles. I'm going to use Monty Python. They were the ones who really took the absurd and just made it even more absurd, but made people laugh. I don't know why. Do we have a special sense of humor here? I think we're quite well known for it. I mean, our advertising was always very good, wasn't it? It's less. I think advertising in general is slightly less interesting now, but there's just a freedom of laughter in this country. I think we're free to laugh at whatever. Isn't that nice? No one's going to tick you off. So yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you. I've actually seen you on Instagram and really enjoyed all your photographs because it reminds me of what home was like about 4 years ago. I used to live in Cambridge for a while. So
okay, lovely.
The quirkiness of like photographing the hedges alone. A lot of memories there. So I did understand like the lamppost and the hedges and making that into a tree. That was excellent.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you.
As a street photographer, I also have a lot of questions about these long walks that you do, because you mentioned that you can go on a short walk and see these moments instantaneously in front of your door. But then sometimes I go for these 3-hour like walks and I can't find a single image. And that is like, I don't know where the motivation comes from. I think it's like a thought process of walking through and getting to know the area, or is it that I am scavenging for an image, or it just hasn't appeared in front of me? When do you know when to turn back?
Well, I don't know. I don't think I ever said I go for long walks. I said I carry a camera wherever I go.
Okay.
So if there's a big difference, because my philosophy really is I can be going to the same supermarket for the 7th day in a row, but the wonder is still there. The unknown can still be there. So I know plenty of photographers who go for 8 hours on the South Bank and take 3,000 photographs. Fine, go do it, guys, gals, whoever. It's fine, and you will get some good photographs. But actually, I'm far too busy living my life to go for these long walks. And I love it. I just love it that just by living my ordinary life and going to visit my mum or to see a friend in the north or get on a train or bus, the life just presents itself. So I'm not really, as I said, I'm listening with my eyes. I'm just open to this thing. So I don't know when to turn back because I haven't set out in the first place, if you see what I mean. I find it, I think, no, listen, it is something I do. When I went to Hong Kong, I went there to take photographs. I walked for 10 hours a day for 3 days. And I got lovely pictures, but I think you said it yourself, are you grasping for pictures too much? Maybe. I think it helps, of course, to have a varied, if you have my philosophy of just going where life takes you, it's very important that life isn't just sitting in front of this screen, going to the shop for a coffee, coming back to the screen. You're not going to get that much. So you do need to, I have another philosophy, which is saying yes to everything else. A friend, a guy I know has the philosophy, thanks for everything. Thank you for everything that has been, for everything that is to come. Yes. That's his philosophy. For everything that is to come. Yes. So when I'm invited to do something in the pouring rain, I go, damn, do I have to? Yes, I do. So off I go. And that makes sure I get out and about and go to the village fete with the Wellington. That's why I'm there, because someone said, let's go to the village fete. Oh, village fete, cups of tea. Okay, yes, let's go. So I do think that is the passive moment. That is the sort of passivity that is also a positive awareness. That's what I find so important. And then the little moments can come in. And I think another thing, quickly, I think people expect to take the picture that blows the universe away. Do you know what I mean? They expect this huge, brilliant picture. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Whereas actually it's the little things that so often just, you look at them and you see a photograph of it and you go, oh, that's tender. That's witty. That's whatever it is. So take lots and lots of those, and try putting them in groups. It's so interesting what happens when you get your themes and you group them. They all give each other the strength to exist with a different interpretation.
So do you feel like, say you take a usual route to the supermarket and then you take it back, and then of course I also carry my camera with me at always. But if you take that route, do you feel like you see something new every time, or does it feel mundane? Or
it can feel mundane.
What is that?
And
what is that?
And
like
I'm
spark
aware.
Of, of like, because everything, like over time, I think if you take the usual route, you would find it very routine, and after a while you wouldn't see anything that would spark a creativity or a moment. Do you feel that is there?
Yes, I do, very much so. I'm very aware that I've imposed upon myself this living my life by carrying, so I go, here I am on the same route, going to get the same cup of coffee, But then a different lorry parks on the side of the street, and I look in the back of the lorry and I see that all the colored crates are making an abstract. And that lorry wasn't there yesterday and it won't be there tomorrow. So I take a picture I've got a project of backs of working vans. Or someone walks past me and they're very different and they're wearing some mad anorak because they're from, I don't know, Mongolia. You know what I mean? They're just wearing this mad anorak. So I take a picture of there's always something. But I'm not bragging about it and saying it's foolproof. I'm just saying that happens to be the way I do it. And that's why I might take a different route one day or whatever. Yeah. I think that sort of addresses your question, I hope.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Alan. Hi. Thanks so much for light and love.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
And those little things that I really admired, and it was lovely to hearing you putting them into narrative. My question is, what if? because I'm a photographer coming from an advertising background.
Okay, hi.
So I couldn't help myself but to notice, and don't get me wrong, a significant layer of the advertisement background in your narrative, in a way you're presenting your body of work. So I was wondering, and again, don't get me wrong, being in Saatchi in London in 80s, I mean, that sounds like one of the most exciting places to be, but at the time, but what if you wouldn't go into advertisement? What if you would discover photography and stick to it throughout your life? Do you ever wonder how would that influence your work and your sensitivity?
Yes, my sensitivity to the outside world. Yes, I do think about that. But I did know, even when I was saying I'm going to art school, I also knew that I actually had to earn a living. And I didn't trust being a fine artist. Well, you know, you can be a fine artist and you can be poor for the rest of your life, can't you? So advertising was a great way to do. You bring in advertising and you're there, you understand what was so brilliant about it. And I'm grateful for to this very day, and it still lives with me, was being trained in the art of the idea. My photographs, I hope, you do not need a title. You do not need to know when or where they would. I hope you look at them and you listen. There's a sort of slightly advertising click to some of them. You kind of get something, you get it. And a lot of people, you know, the fine art critics will probably push their nose up and go, "Oh, that's not art, darling," you know, that all that. But that's fine by me, because Louis Bourgeois would have said, you know, art isn't art. Art is life. That's her quote, I'm pretty sure. And, you know, it's absolutely fabulous quote, because that's all I'm about is showing life. Advertising trained me to be able to tell the narrative that I tell. I can look at the photograph and know that it's speaking to us and communicating. Whereas I really think this is not a brag, but it's such a great training to know when you're communicating rather than hope you're communicating. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
And also,
thank you very much.
No, not at all. And also, Alex, you know, we're trained to spot the cliche and not repeat the cliche. That's so, you know, that's a huge thing in my life. I look at other people's work and the stuff that wins the competitions and the awards, and I go, please, can't you see that 500,000 other people are taking the same photograph? You know, can't we get a different? Please find me a different way of looking at this. That's our job in advertising. So I'm ever grateful, and I'm so lucky to have been at Saatchi, and in fact, at BBA, you know, the two big agencies, because they were such amazing people. Huge, totally open minds, and oh, you see it that way? Brilliant. Go do it that way. You know, the freedom of being in the job was wonderful. Thank you for the great question.
One last question from Hong Kong. Here. Hi, Natalie.
Hi. When you like to take picture, you take every day, everywhere, every time, and you have a lot in your computer. And it's my problem. And I wonder if you take sometimes very quickly, and I wonder if you take a lot of time to edit your pictures. Or do you take a lot of time to choose to make the series? You have to take a lot of time to choose the picture. How do you work?
That's a good question, Natalie. And yes, it takes way too long, and no one pays me to do it. So that's really annoying. And here's my studio. It's at the top of the house, okay? And I'm getting the family. When are you coming down? Because I'm too busy. Yes, it needs, the post-production, the going through I shoot on raw files. I used to shoot on film, obviously, lots. And I've got myself a very, very nice, expensive scanner here, because in fact, I've spent money on it, but it saved me so much money instead of paying someone to scan my, but the raw, yes, I shoot on raw because I really know that something being brighter and something being darker can help you communicate what you're trying to communicate. And a photograph needs a mood just like it needs anything. So going through them is, yes, it's actually the least enjoyable part of my job, really. I think what I do. I think having chosen it, then making it ready to be seen is the best bit of the job. Apart from the walking around in life capturing stuff. But yeah, so you find the same? You've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files, and you've got to make your way through them. Well, go into advertising for 6 months. It'll train you to edit. What we did in advertising when we did a shoot, and I'm working, remember, I'm the art director, so I've had the idea, and I'm hiring a photographer to work with. And the photographer would send back the 100 photographs or the whatever photographs amount. What we would do is we would be ruthless and go, there's something wrong with that one. Gone. Something wrong. So we would choose the negatives to find ourselves our positive. And then you'd be left with 3 maybe that are good. And then from that, you can do it. But if this is the last question, so it's probably my last sentence. Martin Parr, who we all know of Martin Parr, who died recently, whenever he was interviewed often, and the interviewer would often say, so you must take thousands or tens of thousands of photographs a year. Yes, he says, I take tens of thousands of photographs a year. Well, how many of those are good? He said, if I can get between 5 or 10 good photographs in a year, I'm happy.
Whoa.
So those are standards that we should aspire to. 5 or 10 in a year. I mean, that is being ruthless with your work, because that's 364 days he's put in, and 1 day maybe, total is useful to him and good to him. And I find that I take so many bad photographs, like we all do, but the 1 or 2 that squeak through are, they're worth working on and presenting well. Yeah. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for a fabulous question time and for listening, and nice comments. Really lovely. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. It's really kind. Yeah, well, I'm grateful because and grateful to Raffaella as well. Thank you so much for both, because it made me look at myself much more like a critic might look at me, which is a very useful thing to do. And I haven't really done that before. So yeah, thanks for putting us in touch, and great to meet you on this Zoom. Really, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now I can finally say class dismissed. I hope you can hear me. Class dismissed now.
I can. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate you coming to listen to me, because there are many people. I think there are many photographers in street photography who do similar stuff to me. That's my opinion, but thank you so much for being here and listening. It's really kind.
Thank you.
Lovely.